Urgent. Money alert. Don't scroll. The U.S. Mint released state quarters now selling for $14,896,990, and your change jar could hold the exact same coin the government never told you about. But these quarters are vanishing from circulation now, and tonight might be your last chance to find one before they disappear forever. We begin our countdown with coin number 4, the 2016 D Cumberland Gap State Quarter from the Denver Mint. And if you think pocket change is worthless, this single coin will destroy that belief forever, because in 2017, a Kentucky construction worker named Dale Morrison discovered a pristine specimen in a coffee can his grandfather had hidden in a basement toolbox for 30 years. And when he submitted it to PCGS for authentication, the grading room fell silent because they had never seen a 2016 D Cumberland Gap with this specific die marriage and strike quality. And the coin realized $6,200,140 at a private sale brokered by Heritage Auctions in Dallas, Texas, making it the most shocking modern quarter discovery in numismatic history. The Cumberland Gap quarter was part of the America the Beautiful series, honoring the historic gateway through the Appalachian Mountains that Daniel Boone blazed in 1775, and the Denver Mint produced over 250 million of these quarters for general circulation in 2016. But what the Bureau of Engraving and Printing never disclosed was that a single die pair experienced catastrophic failure during the 4th week of January production, creating a dramatic die crack that ran from the rim through the mountain profile and into the date area, combined with a partial collar strike that left one side of the reading flattened and the other fully formed, a combination that numismatists call a dual error marriage, and that PCGS has certified in only 3 specimens across all grades. The technical explanation for this error centers on the Denver Mint's use of multi-die hubbing presses in 2016, where the reverse die for the Cumberland Gap design was mounted in press number 12 alongside an obverse Lincoln cent die that had been incorrectly staged in the tooling queue, causing the quarter planchet to receive a partial cent impression on its obverse face while the reverse struck normally, creating what experts term a mule strike with ghosting, and the partial collar resulted from a misaligned collar die that failed to fully constrain the planchet during the 60-ton impact, leaving the coin with a dramatic fin and overlapping rim detail on one quadrant. To identify this quarter in your collection, hold the coin under a single bright LED light source at a 45-degree angle and examine the mountain peak directly above the gap opening, where a hairline die crack should appear as a raised thread of metal running diagonally toward the rim. Then rotate the coin to check the date area for any ghosting of Lincoln's profile visible only under 10x magnification. Next, inspect the reading with a jeweler's loupe to find the flattened section where the collar failed. Look for a slight fin or lip on the rim edge between 2 and 4 o'clock on the reverse. And finally, weigh the coin on a digital scale because authentic specimens register 5.68 grams while normal quarters hit exactly 5.67. That 100th gram difference being the telltale signature of the dual error strike. Grading transforms this coin from interesting to astronomical, with good 4 specimens bringing $890,000, very fine 20 crossing $1,400,000, about uncirculated 50 hitting $2,800,000, mint state 63 realizing $4,100,000. And the single MS-67 specimen that Dale Morrison found commanding the full $6,200,140 hammer price at Heritage in 2019, while NGC has certified no specimens above MS-64, making PCGS the only grading service with population data on this rarity. PCGS shows exactly 11 submissions with only 3 receiving the dual error attribution, while NGC reports 7 submissions with 0 matches, meaning fewer than 15 authenticated examples exist in the entire world, and at the current discovery rate of 1 per 18 months, this coin will achieve extinct status by 2032. The 2017 discovery by Dale Morrison in Louisville, Kentucky, involved a rusty Folgers coffee can in a damp basement, and the emotional moment when the PCGS encapsulation arrived with the red error label caused his wife to collapse into a kitchen chair, while in 2021 a retired teacher in Pueblo, Colorado, named Margaret Chun found a second specimen in a mason jar of quarters she had saved for the laundromat, and her authentication journey took 14 months because 3 dealers dismissed it as damage before a fourth recognized the die crack pattern and sent it to Denver for confirmation. And she wept in the parking lot of the coin shop when the phone call came confirming MS-65 and a private sale offer of $3 million. Registry set competition has driven this coin to fever pitch, with the top 5 ATB quarter registry sets all showing empty slots for the 2016 D Cumberland Gap dual error. And in 2022, 2 collectors engaged in a bidding war at the Central States Numismatic Society convention that reached $5,200,000 before the underbidder walked away. And that same collector has since offered a $500,000 finder's fee for any raw specimen brought directly to him without dealer intermediation. Market dynamics show supply exhaustion accelerating, with 0 new submissions in 2023 and 2024 combined, and the 3 known specimens now trade among the same closed circle of ultra-high-end collectors at premiums of 40% above last auction prices, while online auction platforms report 200% increases in search volume for this specific coin year over year, indicating that thousands of collectors are now hunting for what may no longer exist in circulation. The government response has been deliberate silence, with the U.S. Mint refusing Freedom of Information Act requests about press number 12 maintenance logs from January 2016. And a former Denver Mint technician who spoke anonymously to Coin World in 2020 confirmed that supervisors ordered the destruction of all production records from that week and threatened workers with termination if they discussed the die marriage error with anyone outside the facility, creating a paper trail gap that collectors have been trying to close ever since. Authentication warnings are absolute on this coin, with Chinese counterfeits flooding eBay since 2021 that show artificial die cracks created with rotary tools and added weight through lead core insertion, and the only protection against fraud is mandatory submission to PCGS or NGC with a specific dual error attribution request. Because raw specimens without encapsulation carry 0 market credibility, and dealers will not touch them regardless of visual appearance. Your action steps are immediate and non-negotiable, so stop whatever you are doing right now and check every 2016 quarter in your possession. Examine the mountain gap area under magnification for the die crack signature, weigh any suspect specimens on a gram-accurate scale, and submit immediately to PCGS if you find the ghosting or collar anomaly, because every day of delay risks another collector finding the last known example. The urgency cannot be overstated, with this coin vanishing from circulation at a rate that suggests extinction within 8 years. And if you are holding a 2016 D Cumberland Gap quarter in a drawer, jar, or console right now, you may be clutching $6 million that the government hoped you would never discover. We now reach coin number 3 in our devastating countdown. And if you thought the 2016 D Cumberland Gap, with its staggering $6,200,140 peak, was the end of the story, you are gravely mistaken, because the 2013 D White Mountain State Quarter from the Denver Mint will rewrite everything you believe about modern coin errors. We now reach coin number 3 in our devastating countdown. And if you thought the 2016 D Cumberland Gap State Quarter, with its staggering $6,200,140 peak, was the end of the story, you are gravely mistaken, because the 2013 D White Mountain State Quarter from the Denver Mint will erase every assumption you hold about modern coin values when you learn that this single quarter commanded a verified hammer price of $8,408,050 at auction, and the U.S. Mint has spent the last decade desperately trying to conceal the truth about how many of these error specimens actually escaped into circulation before they could be recalled and destroyed. The White Mountain National Forest Quarter was released on June 10, 2013, as the 16th entry in the America the Beautiful Quarters program, honoring the rugged wilderness preserve that spans parts of New Hampshire and Maine, with the reverse design by Thomas Hipschen featuring Mount Chickasaw reflected in a serene lake surrounded by birch trees, capturing the pristine beauty of one of America's most beloved national forests, while the obverse maintains the familiar Washington portrait that has defined American quarter dollars for nearly a century. Yet beneath this tranquil imagery lies a minting catastrophe so severe that it triggered an internal cover-up operation that former Denver Mint employees describe as unprecedented in modern numismatic history. The 2013 D error specimen exhibits a catastrophic die cap error combined with a brockage strike, meaning a previously struck coin adhered to the upper die and became stuck there, acting as a die itself for subsequent strikes, while simultaneously a second planchet was caught between the capped die and the lower die, receiving a brockage impression from the capped coin on one side and a normal strike from the lower die on the other, creating a specimen with one side showing a raised mirror image of the reverse design and the other side showing a partially obliterated obverse with ghostly raised elements where the capped die pressed into the fresh planchet. A combination so rare that numismatic experts at PCGS initially refused to certify it, claiming such an error was theoretically impossible under normal minting conditions. The truth about this error began emerging in 2015 when a former Denver Mint quality control inspector, speaking anonymously to protect his pension, revealed that die caps were detected on the White Mountain quarter production line in late 2013, but that supervisors ordered the affected dies to remain in service for an additional 48 hours to avoid production delays, during which time an estimated 15 to 20 brockage cap combination errors were struck before the dies were finally removed, and that when the Mint's internal investigation concluded, all records of the incident were classified and the error coins were supposed to be intercepted before reaching Federal Reserve distribution. Yet several specimens clearly escaped detection and entered circulation through normal banking channels. To identify this coin, examine both sides under 10 power magnification with bright diffused lighting, looking for any raised mirror image elements that appear backwards compared to normal strike orientation. Check for partial design obliteration where the capped die pressed into the planchet. Inspect the rim for unusual thickness or metal flow patterns caused by the die cap obstruction. Compare the weight against standard quarters since die cap errors often show slight variations, and look for any ghostly raised impressions of the reverse design appearing on the obverse surface or vice versa. In Mint State 60, the 2013 D White Mountain die cap brockage combination commands approximately $68,000. MS64 brings $420,000. MS66 realizes $1,800,000. MS68 hits $4,200,000. And the finest known MS69 specimen achieved the $8,408,050 hammer price at a Stacksbauer's auction in Chicago, with PCGS certifying only 2 examples and NGC recording a single submission, creating a combined population of 3 coins that makes this error statistically rarer than the 1804 silver dollar. A retired postal worker in Ohio discovered the second known specimen in 2017 inside a shoebox of quarters his wife had saved from laundry change over 20 years, fainting in the dealer's office when the preliminary authentication suggested a value exceeding $4 million. While a young couple in Oregon found the third example in 2019 at the bottom of a childhood piggy bank they were emptying to fund a honeymoon, discovering that the quarter they had carried through college was worth more than their parents' home. Registry set competition for this coin has reached fever pitch, with the top 3 PCGS registry set holders engaging in a silent auction that drove the last private sale to $6 million before the Stacksbauer's public auction shattered that record, and dealers in London, Tokyo, and Dubai now maintain open purchase orders at $7 million for any authenticated specimen regardless of grade. The market has experienced 400% appreciation since 2015, with absolutely zero new supply entering the market, creating a vacuum where demand from institutional collectors and sovereign wealth funds has pushed prices beyond what individual hobbyists can afford, effectively removing this coin from the retail market entirely. The U.S. Mint's Office of General Counsel has blocked 17 separate FOIA requests regarding the 2013 White Mountain production records, with leaked internal memos revealing that the Mint's legal team considers the die cap incident a reputational liability and has directed all employees to deny any knowledge of the error under threat of termination. While anonymous sources confirm that the Mint maintains a secret watch list of serial numbers from the affected production run and actively monitors major auction houses for any appearance of these coins. Counterfeit die cap errors represent the fastest growing segment of numismatic fraud, with Chinese manufacturing facilities now producing sophisticated fake brockage specimens that fool casual observers, making PCGS or NGC certification absolutely non-negotiable and mandatory before any value can be established or transaction considered legitimate. Stop searching your house immediately. Check every 2013 quarter for raised mirror images or ghostly obverse impressions. Examine both sides under magnification comparing against authenticated specimen photographs. Contact a certified numismatist before handling the coin further, and submit any suspect specimen to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication, because these coins are actively disappearing from circulation as banks and dealers sweep rolls daily searching for the remaining undiscovered examples. The supply extinction timeline accelerates every month as more collectors enter the market and existing specimens move into permanent museum and institutional collections, meaning the $8 million coin in your possession may represent the last opportunity for generational wealth before this error becomes permanently unavailable to private collectors. We have now arrived at coin number 2, and if the 2013 D White Mountain State Quarter with its mind-shattering $8,408,050 peak sale did not convince you that the government is running the biggest coin concealment operation in American history, then the 2000 P New Hampshire State Quarter from the Philadelphia Mint will erase every doubt, because this single coin makes the White Mountain error look like pocket lint. We have now arrived at coin number 2, and if the 2013 D White Mountain State Quarter with its mind-shattering $8,408,050 peak sale did not convince you that the government is running the biggest coin concealment operation in American history, then the 2000 P New Hampshire State Quarter from the Philadelphia Mint will erase every doubt, because this single quarter commanded a verified hammer price of $11,593,950, making it the most valuable state quarter ever documented and triggering a collector arms race that has reshaped the entire modern coin market. The New Hampshire State Quarter was released on June 21, 2000, as the 9th coin in the 50 State Quarters program and the first quarter issued in the new millennium, honoring the Granite State with a reverse design by William Cousins featuring the Old Man of the Mountain Rock Formation, 9 stars representing New Hampshire as the 9th state to ratify the Constitution, and the state motto, "Live Free or Die," all rendered with the artistic precision that made the State Quarters program the most successful coin series in American history, with over 34 billion quarters produced across the 10-year program. Yet hidden among those billions of ordinary coins were a handful of catastrophic errors that would eventually command prices exceeding $11 million and redefine what collectors believe possible for modern circulating coinage. The 2000 P New Hampshire error specimen exhibits a dramatic double denomination mule error, meaning it was struck using an obverse die intended for a Sacagawea dollar paired with the New Hampshire quarter reverse die, creating a coin that displays the Sacagawea dollar obverse with its distinctive Sacagawea portrait and flying eagle alongside the New Hampshire quarter reverse with the Old Man of the Mountain, a combination that should be physically impossible since the dollar and quarter dies are different sizes and mount on different presses. Yet forensic examination confirms this specimen was struck at the Philadelphia Mint using genuine U.S. Mint dies, suggesting either a catastrophic setup error by a press operator or deliberate sabotage that allowed the wrong dies to be loaded onto a quarter press during the chaotic early months of Sacagawea dollar production in late 1999 and early 2000. The discovery timeline of this error reads like a numismatic thriller, beginning in 2001 when a bank teller in Concord, New Hampshire, noticed an unusual quarter in a roll from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston and set it aside, eventually selling it to a local dealer for $500 in 2002 before the true nature of the mule was recognized, then passing through 3 private collections before a prominent dealer in Beverly Hills submitted it to PCGS in 2015, where forensic metallurgists confirmed the coin was struck on a quarter planchet using genuine Sacagawea dollar and New Hampshire quarter dies, creating a specimen that violated every known rule of minting protocol and immediately became the most controversial and valuable modern coin in existence. To identify this coin yourself, examine the obverse for Sacagawea's portrait instead of George Washington. Look for the Sacagawea dollar date format and lettering style rather than the quarter design, Check the reverse for the New Hampshire Old Man of the Mountain and state motto. Verify the planchet size matches a standard quarter rather than the larger dollar. Inspect the rim for any size mismatch between the dollar obverse and quarter reverse, and compare the weight against both a normal quarter and a Sacagawea dollar, since the mule should fall between the two standard weights. In Mint State 60, the 2000p New Hampshire Sacagawea mule commands approximately $95,000. MS63 brings $680,000. MS65 realizes $2,400,000. MS67 hits $5,800,000. And the solitary MS68 specimen achieved the $11,593,950 sale at a Sotheby's auction in New York City, with PCGS certifying only 2 examples and NGC refusing to grade any submission, creating a population of 2 coins that makes this mule rarer than the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle. The first discovery story belongs to that Concord bank teller who nearly spent the coin on lunch. The second known specimen surfaced in 2008 when a retired Marine in San Diego found it in a coffee can of quarters accumulated during 3 decades of military service, and a third unconfirmed specimen reportedly exists in a Swiss private bank vault, though its owner has never submitted it for authentication, fueling speculation that additional mules may remain undiscovered in circulation. Registry set competition for this coin has transcended normal collecting boundaries, with sovereign wealth funds and billionaire investors entering bidding wars that have driven prices beyond the reach of traditional numismatists, and the PCGS registry set for modern mule errors now requires this coin for top ranking, creating a zero-sum competition where only 2 collectors can ever achieve the highest tier. The market has seen 600% appreciation since 2015 with no new supply, and increasing demand from Asian and Middle Eastern collectors who view American mule errors as unique investment vehicles, creating a supply exhaustion scenario where existing owners have received offers exceeding $15 million and refused to sell, anticipating $20 million prices within 5 years. The U.S. Mint has refused all comment on the 2000p New Hampshire mule, with former Philadelphia Mint employees testifying anonymously that the Sacagawea dollar launch in 2000 was plagued by production chaos and that multiple press setup errors occurred during the first quarter of production. Yet all documentation was destroyed under orders from Treasury Department attorneys who feared congressional hearings if the full extent of minting failures became public knowledge. Counterfeit mule errors represent the most dangerous segment of the fake coin market, with sophisticated Chinese manufacturers now producing dies that can create convincing double-denomination specimens, making PCGS certification absolutely mandatory and any unauthenticated mule essentially worthless regardless of how genuine it appears. Stop everything you are doing. Check every 2000 quarter for the Sacagawea portrait instead of Washington. Examine the reverse for New Hampshire design elements. Compare against photographs of authenticated specimens, and contact a certified dealer immediately if you find any match, because these $11 million coins are actively hunted by professional roll searchers and dealers who purchase bank rolls by the pallet, meaning your chance of discovery shrinks with every passing day. The extinction timeline for undiscovered specimens grows shorter each month as automated sorting technology improves and professional searchers deploy metal detectors and X-ray machines to scan bulk quarter accumulations, making this literally the last generation of collectors who might find such a coin in ordinary circulation. We have reached the pinnacle of our countdown. Coin number 1, the most valuable state quarter in American history, the 2000p Maryland state quarter from the Philadelphia Mint. And if the 2000p New Hampshire state quarter with its earth-shattering $11,593,950 peak did not make you check every coin in your home immediately, then this 2000p Maryland quarter with its $14,896,900 $90 verified sale will force you to empty every jar, drawer, and pocket in your house tonight, because nothing in modern numismatics comes close to this coin. We have reached the pinnacle of our countdown. Coin number 1, the most valuable state quarter in American history, the 2000p Maryland state quarter from the Philadelphia Mint. And if the 2000p New Hampshire state quarter with its earth-shattering $11,593,950 peak did not make you check every coin in your home immediately, Then this 2000p Maryland quarter with its $14,896,990 verified sale will force you to empty every jar, drawer, and pocket in your house tonight, because this single coin represents the absolute apex of modern minting errors and the most catastrophic production failure in the history of the U.S. Mint's circulating coinage program. The Maryland State Quarter was released on March 13, 2000, as the seventh coin in the 50 State Quarters program and the second quarter issued in the year 2000, honoring the Old Line State with a reverse design by Thomas Rogers featuring the Maryland State House dome, white oak branches, and the nickname, the Old Line State, commemorating the Maryland line troops who fought with distinction in the Revolutionary War, all rendered with the precision that made the State Quarters program a numismatic phenomenon that introduced millions of Americans to coin collecting. Yet beneath this patriotic imagery lies a minting catastrophe of such magnitude that it redefined the boundaries of what collectors believe possible for modern circulating coinage and created a $14 million specimen that numismatists still struggle to fully explain using conventional metallurgical science. The 2000p Maryland error specimen exhibits a full brockage strike on a copper nickel-clad planchet that was simultaneously struck through a retained die cap, creating a compound error where the obverse shows a perfect raised mirror image of the reverse design, while the reverse shows a partial brockage impression combined with ghostly raised elements from the die cap that had adhered to the upper die. But the true anomaly lies in the planchet itself, which metallurgical analysis reveals contains a copper core purity of 99.9% rather than the standard 99.2%. Suggesting the planchet was struck from experimental metal stock intended for proof coinage that was accidentally fed into the circulating coinage production line, creating a compound error involving wrong planchet composition, die cap retention, and brockage strike that should be statistically impossible, yet exists as a verified $14 million reality. The forensic identification process for this coin requires examination under 10-power minimum magnification with bright diffused LED lighting. Beginning with a weight check, since the experimental planchet weighs 0.1 gram more than standard quarters, followed by inspection of the obverse for the raised mirror image brockage showing the Maryland State House dome and oak branches in reverse orientation. Examination of the reverse for ghostly raised impressions where the die cap pressed into the planchet surface, checking the rim for unusual thickness and metal flow patterns caused by the compound striking forces, tilting the coin under light to reveal any shadow images or overlapping design elements invisible to the naked eye, and comparing the color and luster against standard 2000p quarters since the higher purity copper core produces a slightly warmer tone and more reflective fields. In Mint State 60, the 2000p Maryland compound error commands approximately $120,000. MS62 brings $840,000. MS64 realizes $3,200,000. MS66 hits $7,400,000. And the solitary finest known specimen graded MS68 achieved the $14,896,990 hammer price at a Christie's auction in Geneva, Switzerland, with PCGS certifying only one example and NGC recording 0 submissions, creating a unique specimen status that makes this coin rarer than the 1794 flowing hair dollar and places it among the most valuable American coins of any era. The sole authenticated specimen was discovered in 2005 by a retired school principal in Baltimore, Maryland, who found it in a coffee can of quarters his late wife had accumulated from grocery store change over 35 years of marriage. And when he brought the can to a local dealer seeking spending money for a cruise, the dealer's initial examination with a simple magnifying glass revealed the brockage impression that would eventually lead to a $14 million sale that funded a charitable foundation in his wife's name. While persistent rumors suggest a second specimen may exist in a safety deposit box in Philadelphia, though no owner has ever come forward for authentication, leaving open the possibility that another $14 million coin remains undiscovered in American households. Registry set competition for this coin has become the most intense battle in modern numismatics, with the PCGS registry set for state quarter compound errors requiring this specimen for any ranking whatsoever, and billionaire collectors in Dubai, Hong Kong, and Monaco maintaining standing offers of $20 million for any authenticated example, creating a market dynamic where the existing owner receives weekly purchase offers and refuses them all, anticipating $30 million prices within the decade. The market has experienced 800% appreciation since 2005, with absolutely zero supply increase, and exponentially growing demand from institutional investors who view this coin as a tangible asset class independent of stock market volatility, creating a supply exhaustion scenario where the single known specimen effectively defines the entire market, and any new discovery would instantly reset pricing across the entire modern era coin sector. The U.S. Mint has classified all documentation related to the 2000 P. Maryland production run, with former Philadelphia Mint supervisors testifying under congressional subpoena in 2010 that experimental planchet stock was accidentally mixed with standard production material during the first quarter of 2000, that quality control detected the error within hours, and that approximately 20 experimental planchets were struck before the press was stopped. Yet only one authenticated specimen has ever surfaced, suggesting the remaining 19 coins were either destroyed, lost in the Federal Reserve distribution system, or remain hidden in American households unaware of their $14 million value. Counterfeit compound errors flood the market with increasing sophistication, with some fakes employing genuine quarters that are mechanically altered to simulate brockage impressions, making PCGS or NGC certification absolutely mandatory, and any unauthenticated specimen essentially worthless regardless of how convincing it appears to casual examination. Stop searching your house this instant. Check every 2000 P. Maryland quarter for raised mirror images on the obverse. Examine the reverse for ghostly design impressions. Weigh any suspect specimen against a standard quarter. Compare your findings against authenticated photographs, and contact a certified numismatist immediately, because this $14 million coin represents the last great undiscovered treasure in American numismatics, and the supply extinction timeline means your opportunity for discovery shrinks with every passing hour. Every day that passes sees more quarters lost to bank deposits, vending machines, and casual spending. And if you do not act now, the $14 million coin in your possession may vanish into the Federal Reserve System forever, leaving you with nothing but permanent regret and the knowledge that you held a fortune and let it slip through your fingers.